Hi guys, Michelle Jones here in Cuppa with Michelle. It's been a while. We are on, I think, day 5 of our quarantine here in Sydney. And a lot of people wonder how quarantine is and, what to expect, what happens when you're in quarantine. And just wanted to share our experience. I mean, this is our, I think, 4th time to go on quarantine. Sorry, 5th time to go on quarantine. Adam's done more, but basically, when you're in quarantine, you just have to be able to create your own set of schedules so that it doesn't drive you crazy being in a confined space. Now, we are in quarantine here in Sydney. We are lucky because we actually got an apartment with a balcony. So if you can see, I've got a view of the Sydney Harbor here behind me. And not everyone gets that. I mean, some people just get the room. Some people just have a small space. We actually luckily got a 2-bedroom apartment, and we had been given the option to rent exercise equipment. So we rented what do you call that? A treadmill. Sorry, we've rented a treadmill and we've rented some weights and purchased bands, exercise bands. So when you're in quarantine, it kind of, you have 2 options. I mean, if you've been exhausted throughout the whole move, especially for people like us who are moving from one place to another, then it's okay to actually have a break, just stop and have a break. But if you have, had your breaks and you don't necessarily think that you can just stop and rest for the next 14 days, and then that's okay too. But the only way to survive quarantine, the only way to make quarantine go faster is to actually have a schedule. Again, as I said, depending on where you're at, people always, when you watch videos from mentors, how do you call it? Well, people that are trying to boost your will to do more, to do better, to be better. They always say, you don't stop, you continue your schedule, wake up at 5 a.m. every day, keep going with your routine. But the fact is your routine is actually going to get disrupted, whether you like it or not. In quarantine, things are slightly different. And we all come from different situations. We all have different issues. We all have different goals. So I think the most important thing is that before you even go into quarantine is figure out what your goal is. So when we finished up our 3.5-year posting in Jakarta, and we decided to move here to Australia, or when we finished our posting and knew that we were going to come back here, we also knew that when we get into the new property, or well, not new, when we get into our home, there was a lot of work to be done. So there had to be a stop somewhere. We had to decide what we needed to prep to move efficiently and successfully onto the next place. So I was with you with a few lives when we were packing up. So basically 6 months prior to finishing up our posting, we were already scanning all our documents. We were already getting in touch with back home, trying to figure out, okay, what we needed to do for our home as well. And all that had to, the process had to start. So scanning, shredding, paper documents was very important for us. We didn't want to lose any document in shipment. We wanted to make sure that if we needed any of our documents at any time between when it's packed up to when it's received, that we actually have access to all our documents. So the scanning was crucial. And after my live video, a lot of people said, oh my gosh, didn't even think about that. Well, I'm glad to have been able to open your eyes to that. So we scanned everything. We scanned photos, we scanned albums. We may not have successfully finished everything, but we've scanned most of it. We scan important books. We scan important notes. You know how when you have your journals or you have your notes that you create from workshops or um, seminars, sometimes you all of a sudden go, what did we discuss there? I need that right now. All of those were scanned. So all of those were put in hard drives and all of those were put in the cloud as well. So the importance of having the cloud as well as the hard drive is that you need to make sure that at any one point, you're able to access everything. Should there be a problem with the hard drive when you go from one country to the other, you want to make sure that there's a spare somewhere, and the cloud always offers that spare. Now, that being said, sometimes with the saving of documents and stuff, you may make a mistake and lose what's in the cloud, accidentally put it in trash. That's happened to us previously. Then that's important to make sure that you have a hard drive as well. So there's always a backup, especially if you're filing important documents, photos, business materials, you need to have a backup. So that was the first one we did. We scanned everything. After we scanned stuff, as I said, we got in touch with our property manager at home. When we knew exactly what dates we were looking at, we've advised our tenants to of the time frame that they needed to vacate our property. We organized all that with our estate agent. We checked. Our estate agent was amazing. We had LJ Hooker looking after our property with an amazing property manager. Natalie Clinton is our property manager. So just giving her name out there, because if you do get the opportunity, if you're from Canberra and you get the opportunity to check who you could get as a property manager, she is so thorough. She is the most thorough property manager we've ever had. So we got in touch with her. We saw her report when our tenants left the property. We saw the state of the property. We knew exactly what we need to do from there. And organized with her. She was very helpful in helping us organize everything that we needed to do to actually be able to go back to the property as well. So in the past, I thought my property manager only helped for when the tenants were there. Natalie's been amazing, and she knew how important it was for us to be able to go back to our own home as well. So she's been helping us getting things organized. So I think this might be, and this must be over and beyond what she's supposed to be doing, but she is doing it. So just really, really thankful for what she's doing for us. And so painting, we've had our property painted. We've had carpets replaced. So we come into newly painted house, newly carpeted house. Previous tenants had, I think the two previous tenants that we had in our property both had dogs. And though our contract says the dogs have to be outside, we've had someone say that the carpets actually smelled like dogs. So replacing it was very important for me. We had to check what white goods we needed to replace. And for those of you that are trying to figure out, okay, when can I get the white goods in? What we're planning on doing is to actually get the white goods in on the day that we drive into Canberra. And we also didn't want to be inundated with paying everything in cash straight away, just in case there was something else that had to be paid for or fixed in the house, because you don't know until you actually get into your property what needs to happen, right? So we organized what goods we wanted. We organized which retailer would actually be able to allow us to pay for our white goods by installment without needing to be in store. So if you actually thought you needed to be in the store, no, you don't. So I'll finalize the names of those places with you, but we've seen that Harvey Norman does, the usual 60 months interest-free payment schemes with certain cards. We are looking at Bingley simply because we already have the card that they require. We also needed to get a computer for a son who was going to start high school, and Apple was amazing. So we went straight to Apple for that, and they organized it for us. They organized for us to purchased everything online via installment payment. So they were awesome, awesome, awesome with that. We wanted to get it with JB Hi-Fi, but JB Hi-Fi required us to actually go into the shop for a repayment, for installment payments. So JB Hi-Fi was our choice for my daughter's computer, a year ago when we were in Canberra. We had to be in store, and we called them this time and they said, no, 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 you got to be in store. So Apple, everything was online. Installment payment was set up. Delivery, as we speak, accessories are being delivered to an address in Canberra for us, and we'll be getting the laptop just before we actually get in Canberra. So all those things you actually already now have to get started, and you create a timeline. So we needed our fence changed, we needed picket fences painted, the outside of the house painted. Uh, you know, Gardening obviously happens when I get there because I'm excited about doing the gardening. But all those things you have to start writing down and planning 6 months ahead if you can, because that actually just makes the process easier. Now, fast forward, we're now in quarantine. What do we do? So now in quarantine, it's following up. Okay, when do we start organizing for a shipment, our storage to be released? When you get into Australia, depending on how far ahead you get here from this recording, right now we have 2 PCR tests that we need to do. We had our first PCR test on day 2, and we'll have our second PCR test on day 12. And day 13 is when they let us know, okay, if we're going to be able to get out on the next day. Now, because there's so much uncertainty around that, we've gotten in touch with the storage people and said, okay, tentatively, we want it on this day. And they've also said, look, if you are definitely driving ahead of time, let us know and we can adjust the dates. So know that they can do that. What else? So we still don't have word about our shipment. So it's storage that we're getting organized. As we find out when shipment arrives, then we'll get that organized too. We did pack up a month ahead, so 4 weeks ahead of leaving Indonesia. The whole plan was so hopefully we actually get the items sooner rather than later from when we actually get into Canberra. So what else are we organizing here? School. My son is enrolled in the current semester. So everything's happening online, just coordinating with the school. The school knows that we're still in quarantine, so he's technically excused from everything else. Nothing is online with the school because Canberra is doing face-to-face. But keeping in contact with them, keeping them aware of what's going on is really important as well. So, as much as I want to organize a lot of work in terms of consultancy, lectures, and what have you, all that has to be slightly pushed aside to ensure the smooth transition of my family back into Canberra. So for those of you that are trailing spouses, this is our job. Our job is to make sure that we transition smoothly. Part of the smooth transition and part of the thing that I said here is, what do you see in quarantine? How do you prep for quarantine? So I've just mentioned how to prep for getting into our home, from when we pack up, what you prep when you're in quarantine, and what happens when you get there. What else do we need to prep? What you leave behind. So when you travel with you, important stuff to have would be your supplements, important vitamins and minerals and whatever shakes that you need for your 14 days is crucial, because you don't know what you're going to be able to get. So if you're in Sydney or Melbourne, I guess because of the lockdowns, we've found that Coles and Woolies deliveries take about 3 days before you actually get their stuff. So we have been ordering our groceries through Uber Eats. Uber Eats is connected with IGA, connected with Friendly Grocer and several other organic grocers or smaller grocers. which is great because you get your food and your groceries sooner than if you order from Woolworths or Coles right now. I mean, previously in our last quarantine in Canberra a year ago, we were ordering from Coles and Woolies, and we were getting them like, in the evening or the next day. But this time around, that hasn't worked for us. We have placed an order. As long as it's an order we can wait 3 days for, then we place it with them because obviously it's cheaper to get it from them. But if we want something right now, then we get the stuff delivered through Uber Eats. Food has been good actually. My husband's been in quarantine several times here in Australia, and it hasn't been this good. We have had salads for dinner, which I love. We have had pie for lunch. Adam and my son loves pie. I actually don't eat pie. We've had salmon as well at one point, and I love salmon. We have those rice bowls with quinoa, salad, a bit of rice, chicken. I love those, and I do heat them up. There's like a soy sauce that comes in that packet, so you can heat it up. We've got pots and pans here. And what else have we gotten? They always, I think my biggest problem is breakfast. They always have cereals for breakfast, and I'm not a cereal eater. And they always have pastries. So it's, I think, too much of a treat if you're trying to stay healthy or you're trying to lose weight. I'm trying to help my husband lose weight, and my son's trying to bulk up. So they're not really great breakfast. So that's what we've found. We've ordered sausages, ham, eggs, oats, berries. So those things we ordered from the shop so we could actually organize our own breakfast. I have to say, pots and pans, they gave us huge pots and pans. So to make oats, I've had to create the oats and put it in the fridge so that it actually expands to be eaten the next day. So that's how oats has been for me. I still do heat up my oats the next day with a little bit of water. But yeah, because I really don't like eating cold breakfasts. What else? Oh, yes. So I think I've mentioned this earlier. You get the option depending on which apartment or hotel you land or how much space you've got. We had the option of getting a treadmill. We could have gotten a bicycle, an exercise bike, and they give you mats and bands that you can purchase, dumbbells for rental as well. So we've rented dumbbells and we've rented a treadmill. And as I said, routine is important. So creating a routine for everyone for the exercise part was really crucial for us to make sure that we actually stayed fit and not lazy. Having the balcony here has been great. We get good sun in the afternoon here. During the day, it's not so great. Right now, the sun's just starting to come up on that other side, so it'll be nice and warm here a little bit later, which is great. If you don't have that, sit by the window so you get some sunlight. Okay. Now again, there's no guarantee that when you get into quarantine, you actually get the balcony. My husband's been in quarantine several times, and I think this is the first time that he's actually gotten a balcony. So we have this theory that perhaps it's given to families so that you have a bit of space. It's very hard to have a full family without space. But again, we're not sure. We've heard others tell their horror stories, or others who just said, well, they did get great accommodation, great food, but no balcony. So hope if you do get your time in quarantine that you actually get a balcony like we did. Okay. What else? What else is there to? Okay, to prep. So as I said, your powders, your supplements really important because when you land, you don't necessarily know straight away what you're going to be able to order and if you're going to be able to order them quickly enough to where you are, depending on the lockdowns that are happening. We always travel with our Kangen machines. Our Kangen machine is always our hand carry. So we always have good water. Supplements, Kangen machine. Basically, that's what it is. I did not travel with my essential oils. I left my essential oils with my staff in Indonesia. I think they can use it better than I can. in quarantine. Now, when I do get into Canberra, I'm back into my essential oils. I'm back, using my diffusers. Diffusers are all in shipment though at the moment, so it's when they start coming out from from shipment, not storage, from the shipment. So the other thing I think to take into account when you're prepping for your stay is just realize that it is important, especially if you're quarantining on your own, to have people that you can talk to daily on Zoom, on WhatsApp, on Messenger, because that keeps you sane. So we are quite lucky that we're quarantining as a whole family. So we actually enjoy our family time. It can drive you a bit nuts sometimes, but with all the stress, with all the rush, it's always so nice to just be with your family and be able to just bond with them. So, and give yourself a break. If you've always been working, you've never had time to sit down and watch telly, I think you need that as a family. I think that's great for sanity. I think it's a lie to say that, it's all work, work, work. At the end of the day, you work for your family. It's important to bond with your family. It's important to understand the importance of family, especially in a crazy pandemic like this. Okay. If you aren't moving and you're just where you are, then that's a different story. So I am a trading spouse. We travel all the time. I travel for work. My hashtags are traveling naturopath and trading spouse because that's what it is. I travel and go to different countries to lecture and for work. The pandemic has affected my work so much that a lot of my work is done on Zoom online. And it's just nice to just be able to designate a time frame where it's like not doing a lot of work. I can't say we really had zero work, but not doing a lot of work is really important. You need to have the time frame when you say it really is about family right now, because if you get sick, or if you, I don't know, get into an accident one day and you get a chance to look back and you realize that you spent all your time doing everything but bond with your family, I think it'll be a sad life, right? You impact change with others, that's true, but your first priority, or I think your heart really is with family. It's what you'll miss the most. It's what you'll regret the most if you didn't get a chance to spend time with them. So quarantine is about spending time with family. Now, others have said, quarantine is the best time to write a book. Quarantine is the best time to create something, to create a business. You can do that too. And I think you do that more when you're alone. I am creating a lecture, that's true, but I also am being very mindful that I only do one or two tasks a day that's outside work, and the rest is about work and getting everyone involved in planning for our home, getting my son involved in planning for going back to school. So it's about family. It's really about family. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this. This is one of the things that we get. So I love it when they give us cut up veggies or they give us salads. Love that. So I think they're being more conscious about what it is that they're feeding people. And I've got guacamole here that they've given me. I don't like the whole plastics thing, but then again, I guess that's the only way that they can organize it. They can't take back anything that's been given to us or anything we've handled. So everything gets thrown out from quarantine. And yeah, I guess that's it. So we order our coffee, we order our sushi, our food on the days when we feel like we need a better meal. We've ordered breakfasts before. I'll share with you some of the places that have given us the greatest meals here in Sydney. But yeah, check that out on my posts on Facebook and Instagram. So Facebook and Instagram, go to at, sorry. Oh no, I just forgot that. So I'm at michelletjones.com, official michelletjones.com on Facebook and Instagram. So check me out there and check out the posts of what's been happening on quarantine. Otherwise, I'll see you next time on Cuppa with Michelle. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.